I've been here about 4.5 years, and I haven't seen a single Tibetan who has converted to another religion, no. Because in our religion, it's very flexible. You could go to another totally different, like a Christian religious community, and you could still be friends with every single one of them, because for us, Buddhism is one religion and Christianity is another religion, but it leads to the same goal. It's being who you are, trying to help each other, being kind, compassionate.
That's a nice shot.
It's our country and we are citizens of Tibet, but like we fled from Tibet in 1959. My parents fled from Tibet, and Tibet is situated on the Himalayas mountain, and its capital city is Lhasa, and it's divided into 3 provinces: Amdo, Kang, and Yutang. So I don't know much about.
Do you think you'll go back there ever?
Maybe once in a. It's only 80% chance of not going and 20% of going. So I don't
what
know.
do you know about the Dalai Lama?
He's our political and religious leader of Tibet.
Do you follow him? Or are you interested in him?
Yeah, we are interested in him. He does good for us. Yes.
Can you tell me what he believes?
He believes in nonviolence.
I was raised as a Buddhist from my family's point of view, and also from the community and the Tibet as a whole. Even though when I was little I didn't know much about Buddhism, but I did get up every morning when I went to school. Every morning we went to pray for about half an hour in the morning, and we would do the prayers, not understanding the meaning of all the prayers that we have done. But it is basically trying to clean oneself, to be kind, to be compassionate, to help each other, to have a better life.
I can personally vouch for the fact that any activity undertaken in the international community, whether by Tibetans or non-Tibetans, is very effective in helping mitigate the suffering inside Tibet of the Tibetan people. Therefore, I would like to earnestly request you to continue doing all you can for the cause of the Tibetan people and Tibet. Thank you very much.
The Chinese philosophy and the Tibetan culture could not be more diametrically opposite. They're totally different. And the Chinese say that they came to liberate the Tibetans, but the Tibetans did not want to be liberated. And the Chinese have, in the years since 1959, tried to impose Chinese communism in Tibet. Tibet is an extremely religious country. In 1959, there were probably a higher percentage of the population were monks and nuns than in any other country in the world.
And in addition to sort of the mass population transfer that's going on right now of the Han Chinese into Tibet, the Chinese have established a lot of discotheques and casinos and I think strip bars and stuff like that. And they know that with all the advertising and all this positive spin that companies give on the West, that the younger Tibetans are really going to probably get caught up in that. And they're going to think, yeah, this is Western, this is cool, this is great.
In the years following 1959, it's estimated that 1.2 million people have died, although I've heard this figure 1.2 million for the last 10 years, so presumably it's more than that. The people who died, some were executed. During the Cultural Revolution, things were especially fierce. People were sent to labor camps, people died in prisons, people died of beatings and torture. But also, the Chinese moved in thousands of Chinese settlers. And Tibet is a very high plateau country. The ecology is delicate and fragile, and it can't support that number of people.
Met her at the gate when she arrived from India and was able to photograph the beginning of her life here in America. And this next year, very soon it will be the 5-year anniversary of her arrival, and she will be able to become a citizen. And her son and family has not arrived yet, and so we're still waiting for the family reunification for her. But over these last 5 years, I've been documenting Tsering's life, as she is the ambassador for the Tibetan people and represents all of the Tibetans' journey here.
Tibetans seem to be very adaptable people. They adapt very well to the surroundings. The only possible problem I've seen is very, very rarely you get Tibetans who become very, very Americanized. But they're extremely rare. I only know 1 or 2 cases here.
You know, there's bound to be an American influence, and as Tsering has said, it will happen more for the children than for people of her generation.
We say that we are not Vietnam, we are Tibetan. And they said, what is Tibet? They don't get it, so we show them on map. This is Tibet. I miss India.
What are you missing about India?
Friends.
Yeah. What What's the difference between India and here?
In America, there are good facilities. We whatever we want to do, we can do it. In India, if you in India, there are poor facilities, so we can't do whatever we think in our mind.
First, you need to know how to draw a line and everything. After that, you need to paint, try. After that, you need to know how to paint and color. That.
What kinds of things would you like to paint? Who is that?
Michelangelo. He's orange turtle. He's but this is that when he used to fight.
Right now, with his painting, this is the most quickest help to the people. You know, if we, pray and practice to this white Tara, and this is the most quickest helping to the people. If we have a problem, we have to pray for this.
And certainly we cannot expect everyone to behave like Buddhas, even as Buddhist practitioners, that we have very mixed motivations, but we are trying as much as we can. But our culture, it's interesting, just even in the past 10 years, how many people use karma, the word karma, in their everyday life? We do things, we think, somebody says, don't take that candy, kid, it's bad karma. Or I'm not going to retaliate against this person who did something against me because it's not good karma on my part. It's become part of our daily life.
I think people are drawn to the colorfulness of it and to the liveliness of it and to the fact that it's obviously a living and genuine tradition that goes back a long way. There's a sense of tremendous depth to it and of a real genuineness. Something to which many people over many centuries in unbroken lineages have devoted every last ounce of their energy. And there's a sense that through their doing so, they have been able to develop themselves and to some extent really transform themselves in very profound ways.
So for individuals who are interested in promoting Tibetan culture, first of all, read about it. There are just wonderful books. The fact that we are able to discuss Tibetan culture and present it in a forum on film and preserve the beginnings of the Tibetan community, how wonderful that is for preserving the Tibetan culture.
I started thinking a lot about desire and the kind of suffering that arises from desire. How in this culture we we love what we lack, and I think it spawns a very acquisitional approach, a very acquisitional mode of being in this society, in this culture. You know, we buy a new car and then we like it for maybe a year and a half, and then we get bored of it and we see these new advertisements for the brand new model, and it's something we have to have, and we spend all our lives trying to acquire. And I think it works the same for relationships in a lot of ways, where people, I think, have a very acquisitional approach towards other human beings, and a very, just very possessive kind of quality.
My name is Tibetan Darak. I'm almost second Tibetan in Twin City, and I came here end of 1985, 86. So then I came 1986, then 87 we opened a toy store. It's called Toy Town. And I sell a lot of educational toys. No guns, no knives, or any violin, violin toys that we don't carry. And we strictly don't carry the Chinese, made up Chinese toys. And we sell puzzles, books, anything with the educational. And we built up a lot of good customers from our local town in Stillwater. And we have a lot of followers, people who come all the time to buy us a toy from us.
Father and mother died when I was a small child. So my sister and my brother, they take care of me. And one night they said, the Chinese is coming and now we have to move. And we came and run in the night from the jungle to jungle. And then we stay, in the forest. Like that, and there are quite a bunch of Tibetans together, and then we moved to one place to another, and then we reached to India. When we came to India, India arranged everything, tents and the ration, the food and everything. They organized very good for us, yeah. Yeah, she's over 21 and she lived in India. I hope when I get citizenship then she might come here soon. And her name is Tenzin Seyang. She born in 1972. Yeah. that is not, I found somewhere, so I just put it there. It reminds me my daughter, so I just...
All small kids. I've seen some children who are growing up just as any American kid would. And in a way, it is good for them because they're going to live in this country for the rest of their life. Of course, it's very important for them to be an American. But at the same time, it's sad to see any Tibetan children growing up like that, because I personally wouldn't want them to forget about where we come from. And that's one thing that's very, very important. And also, it's important for them to speak our language and know about our Tibetan history. If they know all these and still be American, that would be okay. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult for children growing up like that. And later, when they're older, they want to know more about Tibet.
The Tibetans spent many, many centuries studying those teachings, practicing those teachings, integrating and organizing them, turning it into some kind of well-synthesized and practical approach that takes a person from the earliest initial levels of spiritual practice in the Buddhist tradition through the whole panoply of devotional practices, contemplative practices, philosophical study, ritual behavior, whatever, that's part of the full Buddhist tradition. And that's unique. There's no other Buddhist country that received all of those traditions and that has kept all of them alive as practice, at least not so far as I know.
Compassion is a very easy thing to do. And if you see a worm on the sidewalk, you pick it up and put it on the lawn, or you try not to harm insects. In our garden, we always make sure that there are edible plants for rabbits, and there's things there for wasps and bees and all of that. I think Americans could grasp it, really. It's just you have to sit still. Americans don't like to sit still. But I think it's very easy to grasp, yeah. It depends on your involvement. I mean, you could practice and then, but you can also take it a step further, like I have. Hopefully someday to become a monk. But that's years of study and practice, and it means discipline. And Americans, and you say the word discipline, and oh well. Yeah.
I have a very strong interest in maintaining the true deep values of Tibetan Buddhism and how these values and this Buddhist tradition is being translated, transferred to the West. Now, the West is not a building, but the West is actually people, and people are not their bodies, but people are where it's happening is in people's minds. So we have this incredible mixture of in the West of people who have not only had very strong Christian background, but I would say for the most part people who have very little spiritual grounding at all. And how the purity of the Tibetan tradition, which is, I can't really go into because it's very complicated, but how this lineage directly from the time of the Shakyamuni Buddha, and how it has come down in a direct lineage from teacher to disciple over 2,500 years in an unbroken lineage in Tibet. And now that lineage has been transferred from teacher to student in the West. So in the future, the students here will be the teachers. So it's important that we are very clear on what it is that's being transferred, and also the responsibility of it.
The most important, what I'm trying to do, telling always them, do prayer, and I'm showing him how to do this
offering bowl to God.
Doing. Of course, the Tibetans were very surprised when I became a nun, because there are very few Westerners who do become monks and nuns, and they were extremely pleased that their spiritual tradition had taken root so much that someone would become a monk or a nun. So I was surprised that many of them came up and said, "Thank you for becoming a nun." And it surprised me, but they were they're expressing their happiness, and it affirms their belief that their culture has real value, not just for people who live in the mountains of Tibet, but also for people who live in a highly technology society.
And it carries over into everything. So you start your day with practice, and then when you have to deal with people, if they're angry at you, you really have to see beyond that anger. You know, so you should look at it and say, well, they're afraid. What are they afraid of? And continue to be nice to them, because you really can't lash out in anger, because then you go back on every vow you took. So I don't really see a whole clash of it. There must, I mean, coming from like India and Nepal, where there really isn't a lot of things, and to a country that is just overwhelming in times, you know, with cars and TVs and all this sort of thing. But you can blend it, I think.
My dream for Tibet, true freedom, definitely. Freedom for Tibet would mean not only freedom for just Tibetans, but for every single person who's striving for the basic human rights, and also for everyone to know what a small country can do for the rest of the world. It is important for us to spread out the word of what peace is, of what a compassionate person is, some words that we need to spread out. That's very important, I think, for the peace of all the world.